Holiday World and Splashin' Safari, located in Santa Claus, Indiana, is one of the most loved independent amusement parks in the world due to its great atmosphere, top-notch wooden roller coasters, and huge water park. In this video, we will rank the top 10 rides and attractions between this combined water and theme park. Starting off this list at number 10, we have Frightful Falls, which is a Hopkins log flume. This isn't the biggest log flume by any stretch, and doesn't have too many large drops, but its layout does have some unique qualities. For starters, a lot of it is literally just in the ground, so you are floating along in this log flume and there's just grass right next to you. Also, Frightful Falls has a little bit of interaction with Legend, which is one of the park's large wooden coasters, and their layouts sort of intertwine with each other. For these reasons, I included Frightful Falls at the number 10 spot on this list. Coming in at the number 9 slot is Gobbler Getaway, which is a shooting dark ride. This attraction sort of reminded me of Boo Blasters on Boo Hill, which is also a family shooting dark ride found at many Cedar Fair parks, including Kings Island and Carowinds. It is themed around a town in which it is Thanksgiving time and their turkeys are hiding, so when the turkeys pop up, you shoot them with your blaster. Although in the storyline, you aren't killing them, but rather just tagging them. Then, at the end of the ride, everyone in your ride vehicle has their scores totaled up and compared against each other. While this isn't even close to the most technologically advanced interactive dark ride, it definitely has a unique storyline, so it slides in at number 9. The number 8 spot on our list belongs to Good Gravy, the park's new for 2024 coaster. This is a Vekoma family boomerang and is one of 2 of this model opening in the United States this year, the other being Snoopy's Soapbox Racers at Kings Island. While Good Gravy doesn't provide too many forces, it is still a fun little coaster, and the name and theme are definitely unique. Mammoth takes the number 7 spot. Located in Splashin' Safari and constructed by Pro Slide Technologies, this attraction is the longest water coaster in the world with a slide length of over 1,700 feet. It features 6 different uphill launches powered by LIM motors. From what I have researched, it is the only family raft coaster in the world, as it features rafts where riders are facing each other rather than being seated in line. You can also take a lot of the elements backwards and sideways due to this feature, and it makes the ride so much more chaotic. Overall, this is a great water coaster with a lot of different fun moments. At number 6, we have Liberty Launch, which is an SNS double shot which opened in the 4th of July section in 2003. When walking up to this attraction, I wasn't initially all that impressed, as it only stands 80 feet tall, compared to the space shots at other parks, which are often 200 to 300 feet tall. However, Liberty Launch features the strongest airtime I've ever felt on a flat ride at the top of its launch. This thing comes to such a sudden stop, and I felt as if I was simply going to be ejected from the carriage. This is a must-ride attraction when you visit Holiday World, in my opinion. I just could not believe how strong the airtime was on Liberty Launch. For me, it was the biggest surprise of my first visit to this park. Sliding in at number 5 is Wildebeest. This is another Pro Slide water coaster located in Splashin' Safari. Wildebeest is widely regarded as one of the best water coasters in the world. In fact, it has won the award for the best water slide in the world for the last 10 years. When it opened, it was the longest water coaster ever built. However, that title has now been taken by the other water coaster on this list. But the hills on this ride provide actual airtime, which is what sets it apart from Mammoth to me, and each of the launches are fun as well. Wildebeest really is the whole package when it comes to water coasters and even water slides in general. The number 4 spot on this list belongs to Legend, which is Holiday World's massive CCI wooden roller coaster, constructed in the year 2000 at a cost of $3 million. It features a drop of 113 feet and a length of over 4,000 feet, so it is without a doubt one of the largest wooden coasters out there, and it is legendary in the coaster community for the lateral forces it delivers throughout its layout. In fact, enthusiasts have accurately named Legend as the king of laterals. Legend also gives a few moments of airtime during its nearly 75 seconds of prime ride time. Voyage gets all of the attention at this park for having such a long ride duration filled with intensity, but Legend is also a very long wooden coaster, and it is almost just as intense in my opinion. While it doesn't quite have the same length or have the signature airtime and relentless pacing of Voyage, it still stands up as a great layout. However, the reason I don't place it any higher is because it isn't really my cup of tea personally. While I can definitely enjoy laterals, they aren't my favorite. I also found that this coaster was surprisingly rough compared to Raven and Voyage, which doesn't help its case for a higher ranking. Perhaps I was just dehydrated when I rode it, and maybe that contributed to the headache I received after experiencing Legend. Overall, it is a fun coaster with a long layout that delivers some very intense laterals. Just beating out Legend for the number 3 spot is Raven, another creation by Custom Coasters International, which opened in 1995. This coaster is the smallest and oldest of the major coasters in the park, but it still packs a decent punch into its terrain layout. In fact, shortly after it opened, Raven won the Golden Ticket Award for Best Wooden Roller Coaster 4 different times. This coaster features an out-and-back terrain layout, which starts off with a lift hill along the front side of the parking lot, and then it turns to the right and drops into the forested hillside of Lake Rudolph. While it is definitely a lot shorter than Legend, I think the pacing feels slightly faster, and Raven is also built much more for airtime, which I do prefer over laterals. After you traverse the first half of the layout, the train completes a sweeping right-hand turn over the banks of the lake, and a few moments later is when you encounter the legendary 5th drop of Raven. The train rises up and then just suddenly and sharply drops, delivering an awesome and surprising moment of airtime. Those in the back of the train receive ejector airtime on this element. The rest of the layout consists of more breakneck pacing as Raven follows the terrain back to the station, eventually slowing up to a stop on the brake run. I think this coaster is without a doubt the smoothest wooden coaster at Holiday World, so that perhaps also helps its ranking over Legend. Overall, you could easily make a case for either Raven or Legend at the 3 spot, but Raven just appeals to my personal taste more. At number 2 we have Thunderbird, which is a magnetically launched B&M wing coaster opened in 2015 with a $22 million price tag. The launch on this coaster is much more punchy than I expected, and it felt like my stomach was left behind on the launch track. Then the train traverses an oddly shaped immelman as you quickly invert and then roll out of it in the front and get hang time in the back, where the train slows at the apex of the element before swooping back to the ground. The rest of the layout is very fast-paced for a wing coaster, and it features some unique elements for an American wing coaster, like some G-force inducing turns, instead of just focusing on inversions. My favorite sequence on this coaster besides the launch and first inversion comes towards the end of the layout, where you traverse a weird S-hill, which gives a quick and abrupt jolt of laterals and also airtime. Then, right after, you go through a hang-time-filled inline twist, which also has a near miss of a damaged barn. Overall, I put Thunderbird at the number 2 spot because it has a strong variety of elements, is unique, and has good pacing. And at the number 1 spot, it's the Voyage, the greatest wooden roller coaster in the world. You might not think it's the best, but between the amazing layout and ridiculous scale, I think it's fair to call it the greatest. It is over 6,000 feet long, 159 feet tall, and has the second most airtime of any coaster in the world, behind only Steel Vengeance. There's nothing I can really say to do the experience of this coaster justice. It feels endless as it just hammers you with sustained airtime, quick pops of airtime, laterals, and positive Gs. It is essentially the ultimate wooden roller coaster, and that is why it is number 1 in this park. Plus, Holiday World's maintenance does a great job trying to keep the 6,000 feet of track on this coaster smooth and enjoyable. And that will do it for our ranking of the attractions at Holiday World. If you have any thoughts about our list, or if you want to drop your rankings of the rides at Holiday World and Splashin' Safari, let us know in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching.